The Hedgeless Horseman here again. I thought I say a few more words about another news release and also some further thoughts on Eskay Mining. Uh, we had another news release out today. It was from Novo Resources. Novo announces strategic investment and advancement of battery mineral strategy. Liata Mining, Australian-based manager of the Bald Hill lithium and tantalum mine in Western Australia, will make a strategic investment of 5 million Canadian dollars through the purchase of 12.8 million shares of Novo at 39 cents per unit, and they also get a 1/4 of one common share purchase warrant at 60 cents. So not a lot of extra dilution if we get over 60 cents. Of course, we'll get some cash as well. But still, we get $5 million at 39 per share. Shares closed a bit lower, so obviously they thought that it was worth to take a shot at Novo with a quarter of a warrant at 60 cents at 39 cents per dollar, which is obviously a premium to the current price of Novo, which I guess is kind of telling. I mean, it's quite interesting. They also do a earning option on some ground here in red, which is, as you can see, we'll focus in on this a bit. I think this is the current transaction tenure. So this is what they will be exploring, and Novo is, if they find something, Novo is free carried to, I think it was feasibility stage. They have to incur 1.5 million of expenditures over 24 months to earn 80% interest in the Quartz Hill project. Novo will be free carried to the earlier of a bankable feasibility study or 20 million Australian dollars in aggregate expenditures at Quartz Hill. Novo retains 20% interest in the battery minerals JV, 100% interest in gold and silver rights, or to convert 20% interest in the battery metal JV into a royalty right. I'm not 100% sure if this is a joint venture vehicle which Novo will keep 20% of, regardless. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe I'm a bit dumb when it comes to corporate structure and well, corporate finance, let's say. Still, okay, 5 million in the bank extra. I don't know what the current cash is, but let's say it was 52 last. Let's say it's 50. So 55 in cash, 20 million equities. That goes to 75 million. So basically, cash and equities are covering the whole current market cap. So everything else is for free right now, although they have a burn rate, obviously. This kinda, I think, highlight. I mean, they have such a massive land position, and if they can make some work, again, they will keep the gold, the gold rights and silver rights, I think. Anyway, so I mean, let somebody else explore, and they also have an option to basically option even more areas and explore that for I guess a similar earning agreement. And I saw, some are already pissed that there's some dilution at 39 cents, and I mean, sure, I can understand that, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, take Hemai for example. If they find something big at Hemai, I don't think we'll care, and we'll have quite a bit of money given we have what 55 million. So I mean, imagine if they find something really good at Hemi. They have 55 million to spend. I mean, they could prove up something pretty large before they ever need to do another raise in that case. And at the same time, gives us more breathing room, because I know, a lot of people are unhappy with how Novo has performed, etc. But I dare to say that people, I think, would be even more pissed if they burned the 50 million and came up with nothing. I mean, 5 million extra, that could potentially go a long way. And obviously, this Eskay Mining Australian-based manager, or the Bald Hill Lithium, yada yada yada, they are gonna do some work as well. And we know right now lithium is super hot. That might not be hot forever, but if they actually find something, I mean, that could be some appreciable value. I don't think they're looking for something small. I mean, what are the odds that they're gonna find something, a new lithium mine? I have no idea, but some of the economics, if you've looked at some lithium juniors with projects or producers, I mean, they're just absurd right now. So again, it's like, yeah, okay, why not give these guys a shot of finding something? We get 5 million immediately, and get free carry to bankable feasibility study, or they will fork up 20 million Australian before Novo has to do anything, put more money in, let's say. So that's, I mean, I see it as risk-free upside, basically, via lithium in this deal, and we get 5 million. Sure, again, a bit dilution, obviously, but it's like, yeah, okay, first of all, they're getting in at 39 cents, which is a premium, so I guess it kind of shows that, I mean, Novo isn't even a lithium company. So I mean, these guys who are about lithium, they're putting 5 million and becoming a shareholder in Novo. So if a lithium company decides to become a shareholder of a primarily gold company, of course, I mean, they're buying into all of Novo's land, of course, which might have nickel, lithium, yada yada. But I still take it as pretty good signal value that they're like, hey, I mean, you guys are really cheap, so here, have $5 million. We want to be a shareholder of Novo at 39 cents. But everybody's always the smartest on the forums, etc. And I'm not talking about Jim Bowie, but some other people who are like, yeah, it's moose pasture everything. Okay, sure. But these guys have nothing to do with the conglomerate gold rush. They see Novo as an investment at 39 cents. Make of that what you will. So again, I think this is a risk mitigating deal, obviously, because we get more cash, we get free carry, we get to, if they find something lithium wise, we might get some. I mean, if that becomes valuable, we'll get something out of that, obviously. And if lithium stays at these prices, I mean, who knows how much that could be worth. What's the chance of they actually finding something of significance? I don't know. I just know that 0% chance is priced in right now after this. Well, yeah, at face value, 0% chance of success is priced in. So it's like, again, free upside. That's the best stuff there is in the investing game. And yeah, we give away some of the upside with 6% dilution. But hey, personally, I'd like Novo to succeed in one way or another, and find something, and they get 5 million extra to go out and find something. So given how bad the markets are, etc., and the let's say stage of Novo, how it is right now, more of a early stage explorer again. Yeah, I don't think this is bad at all, actually, and it's like vote of confidence from an external Australian-based miner that's saying we'd like 12.8 million shares. Uh, and then we have Eskay Mining. Again, it's like I thought about this more and more. I mean, the forum is basically overrun with uh, uh, forum is overrun with I don't know, despair, and a bunch of people that I don't think even own the stock or have owned the stock. I think they're just happy to see stocks go down, pretty much. And I mean, some basically have, claiming that this story is dead, and etc. It's like, okay, let's, because like I said in the last video, I want to hear what the Decker etc. say, because I mean, these news releases are, above my pay grade. Yes, everybody can read the news release and the asset results. That's easy, and that's what everybody's reacting to. I just mentioned earlier. Yeah, I think I spotted like one comment before this, at least, talking about the actual context. Anything except that, geez, these assay results are bad. And like I said before, I mean, if you think this isn't material, I don't know what to say really. You can see the distance here, obviously, and this small cluster here, quite a distance. And as I'll show later, I mean, look at this is TV drilling. I mean, obviously, like, should be pretty obvious. I mean, they've been doing fence drilling with huge step outs over I don't know how many kilometers. But as you can see, I mean, this is probing. This is exploration drilling. They're trying to obviously guess where there might be mineralization and hope they hit something. Expecting that everything will be a barn burner or whatever. That's not what this this campaign was all about, really. I mean, in a blue sky scenario, of course, that's what we all would hope to see. That they basically nailed it all the way through. But they've been probing around, and this probe here hit something. This might be something. And yeah, anyway, let's listen to John the Decker.
I'll start off talking about TV. So late last season, the 2021 season, we had intercepted a newly discovered zone of massive sulfide overlying a larger zone of stockwork sulfide mineralization. We followed up on that this year and are actually able to show that this zone of massive sulfide extends at least 100 meters to the north of what we found last year. And that's what the whole TV 22109 is representing.
So he's talking about hole 109 here, that this extends the previous hits. The massive sulfide found that one horizon in the TV target 100 meters to the north. And it's like, for people who say that, I mean, there's no gold here, whatever, that everything is, I don't know, the barn is burning down or whatever. These are some of the highlight holes that we've seen from, I think some might actually be from 2020, I think, but most are from 2021, especially the TV target. So to say that there's nothing going on here would be quite a stretch, to say the least. So basically the TV target, I should bring up, do I have some? Well, this is TV. I'm trying to figure out. Anyway, okay. So this 109 here, and again, I think all these black holes are yet to be assayed, and we'll get to that soon. But okay, this hole basically confirms that the massive sulfides are present 100 meters north of where they hit massive sulfides last year. Okay, 100-meter strike edition. It's not it's not super high. 15 meters of 2.41 AU equivalent. So yeah, what's that, around let's say 35 gram meters. Again, not superb, but it's it's shallow at least. So material for sure.
We also were able to extend the zone of stockwork mineralization at TV further to the north, and in this release, that would be represented by TV 2297.
So that is hole 2297. How long did he say they had?
Represented by TV 20 to the north and TV further to the north. Stockwork mineralization at TV further to the north, and in this release, that would be represented.
Okay, he didn't say the actual, how much farther, but okay. So this also this hole expanded the massive sulfide horizon at TV, and I've shown this before. I mean, you have like I don't know. I think they've hit like 2 feeders and one massive sulfide horizon, etc. That it's a stacked system basically, and it's actually in the feeder system that these holes were made, and that's not akin to. Well, this is akin to what Skina is drilling basically now, but it's not the Eskay Creek Bonanza stuff. That is actually in the massive sulfide stuff. But so basically these are two different, let's say, layers or zones that have been confirmed further along strike to the north now. This would be the massive sulfide zone. Where's the north thing? I can't see where the in terms of where we are, but let's say the other holes were 100 meters here or something. So this hole extended the massive sulfide strike at TV by 100 meters, and this extended the stockwork zone at. Wait, isn't this even fully assayed yet? It should be, right? It just looks weird that it would go from red to barren all of a sudden. I don't know, maybe actually this isn't fully assayed. Okay, that, who knows what might come out of that if that's the case. We know they get, or, last year they got basically parts of holes back. So I don't know if that's actually what's going on here or not. But some holes for sure are not even assayed at all, obviously. But again, okay, takeaway from this, what he's talking about, this extended a massive sulfide strike 100 meters, this extended it with something, the stockwork zone at TV.
TV 2297. Now, going northwards to Jeff, which is about 1.5 kilometers north of TV, we were able to show that drilling up to 800 meters north of Jeff, we were finding that there is additional VMS mineralization. In this case, it's dominated by zinc and subordinate copper mineralization, but it's also cut by some silver and gold mineralization as well, which is really interesting because what we're starting to see is that we've got a much larger trend of VMS mineralization where we've got areas of gold and silver enrichment and areas that are more kind of, I'll say, traditional or typical VMS base metal rich areas. And it's this northern extension of Jeff that's really curious because it's starting to lead towards these geophysical conductors that trend all the way up towards the hexagon and Mercury show.
What he's talking about in this case is, of course, that basically they're finding that it's trending with the geophysics ridges, or how you would call it, trending towards Sib Lulu here. And this is the hexagon Mercury prospect. I think there were some historic hits here. Let's just replay this part.
Trend all the way up towards these of Jeff that's really curious because it's starting to lead towards these geophysical conductors that trend all the way up towards the hexagon and Mercury showings, which are immediately to the east of the Lulu showing. So we're actually showing geological connectivity between the TV and Jeff trend and what we're seeing as we get closer to Sybil and Lulu and on up towards the world-class Eskay Creek showing.
Yeah, and you still have a lot more assays to.
And you can see here, I mean, I don't know why I thought that, but I just for some reason thought there for sure wasn't a continuity in terms of geological units, but it like this new geological map here suggests it's you have the upper Hazelton and you have the lower Hazelton, and they are actually continuing. So I just for some reason I'd assumed that this would have all been shaved off, basically eroded, because it would be a anticline. So basically you have that let's say one side of the anticline and another side, and everything else would be eroded. But and I don't know exactly how this hangs together, but you can see here that I mean it's in the Hazelton group that the VMS mineralization is found, and I think they're up to 6 different levels in the Hazelton group where there's some kind of VMS mineralization, be it replacement style, stockwork, and exhalative horizons. But as you can see here, this belt here of purple and yellow rocks actually is continuous from Jeff North all the way to Siblulu, and then of course up to Eskay Creek and to the south, and the same rock units are showing up here at Virginia Lakes and TV. And I think I don't remember what's the southernmost prospect. I don't think it's shown here. But the Cumberland and the C10, etc., way to the south, that is confirmed also to be the same age for that mudstone as Eskay Creek. I'm pretty sure I remember that. So that's like I think it's 20 kilometers to the south or something. And we obviously know that Scarlet and Tarn VMS trend appears to also be the same rock type as the Eskay Creek mine, actually.
Correct? You mentioned Scarlet Ridge, Scarlet Valley, Scarlet Knob, Tarn Lake. All those are still in the lab, right?
Yeah, those are still in the lab, as well as the majority of the massive sulfide intercepts we have at TV.
Okay, so basically, he says the majority of the massive sulfide intercepts at TV are yet to be assayed. So I'm guessing that includes a lot of these holes. And again, I'm not 100% sure if this hole is even assayed fully. But okay, we know it hit here. Does it look like this could hit something? Yeah, is this another hole? I guess so. I mean, does it trend here and you'll hit something there? Does this trend this way and you'll hit it here? Will these holes hit this? Etc. etc. So again, he's saying that the majority of the massive sulfide hits at TV are left. Do we know what they are gonna assay? No. But massive sulfides is obviously a good sign. And also all the drilling left from Tarn Lake. What are all these names? Scarlet, I guess it's called the Scarlet Tarn VMS trend, but that's made up of, I think it's made up of this is another news. Scarlet Ridge, Scarlet Valley, and Scarlet Knob. Yeah, that's. And you can go through the older news releases, and you'll find some stuff. Where do I have? Is this the October? No, July. Okay, let's just go back to the previous news release. October. Because these are descriptions. Not TV. We're still waiting for some holes, obviously. I don't know exactly again what holes, but if one wants to be a Sherlock, one could probably figure or just look up which have been reported. So, but these are not reported yet. Drilling at Tarn Lake focused on a large gossamerous outcrop, yada yada yada, hosted within the Eskay rhyolite. So basically the same rocks that host mineralization at Eskay Creek. Sulfide mineralization is found around east-west trending, yada yada. Hole TN2210 intercepted approximately 10 meters of semi-massive replacement style and ubiquitous disseminated sulfide mineralization associated with stock work. Do I know what this is gonna run? Absolutely no clue. But it's like, yeah, it's probably not barren. Earlier results show pervasive stockwork and disseminated sulfide mineralization in all drill holes completed at Torn Lake. Handheld XRF readings display very high concentrations of pathfinder element, silver, arsenic, and stibnite within stockwork and semi-massive and massive sulfide mineralization. Obviously it sounds like they actually hit some massive sulfide mineralization in that case. Handheld XRF cannot reliably measure AU concentration. So yeah, I'm quite careful with XRF readings. I've seen some examples where it actually works very well, but in this case, especially since the hits out today, for example, they were very gold rich and not silver rich, and that gold would obviously not even show up in the XRF gun. So it's hard to say because gold is obviously like 80% more valuable than silver. So even if you have good silver numbers, might not amount to much if there's no gold, whatever. But we know that these are good pathfinder elements, basically, that they tend to coincide. There's a good chance they coincide with some gold. Rhyolite hosted sulfide mineralization at Scarlet Knob, situated approximately 1 kilometer to the northeast of Tarn Lake, is likely structurally offset from the Tarn Lake VMS system, displaced along a dextral shear zone. Okay, we're talking scale here. I mean, obviously it's structurally offset, so maybe, it doesn't mean that it has to be a 1 kilometer strike. It can just have been, transported for 1 kilometer. Highlights from the Scarlet Valley drilling. Drilling at Scarlet Valley targeted a large east-west trending gossan associated with intense stockwork. Sulfide mineralization. Mineralization is focused along yada yada yada. Debris flow breccia in the western part of Scarlet Valley contains rhyolite clasts. Interestingly, debris flow is what basically the Eskay Creek deposit is, if I understand it correctly. While debris flow breccia to the east is dominated by andesite class. Both andesite and the debris flow breccia exhibit replacement style mineralization, in some cases sulfide replacement being intense. So, debris flow, that's as it sounds. A bunch of stuff just basically getting shoveled around on the seafloor could potentially open up some pathways for fluids to enter, etc. Core from hole SV2205, obviously this has not been reported yet, displays intense silification and sulfide replacement of volcaniclastic debris flows, a promising site. Here they get to that point. A promising sign that a permeable sedimentary horizons may host lateral extensions of replacement style mineralization. And handhold XRF analysis of sulfide mineralization in drill core display high concentrations of pathfinder elements, silver, arsenic, and stibnite. And again, handhold XRF can reliably measure gold concentrations. We're waiting for all holes from this, which is the Torn Lake area. All holes from Scarlet Valley area as well, and the majority apparently of massive sulfide intercepts at TV. And again, they mention massive sulfide mineralization here at Torn Lake, so that's kind of interesting. And here, is this an even earlier? September 1st. Yeah, a bit earlier. Scarlet Valley, Scarlet Ridge. I don't think. Okay, Scarlet Valley, figure 8. Figure 8. Figure 8. I don't actually know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Okay, Scarlet Valley, Scarlet Ridge, and Scarlet Knob Tarn. And in this it talks about Scarlet Valley, Torn Lake, and Knob is not mentioned here, even though it's a later. I think they got around. Ah, okay, okay. They actually, I don't think they actually got to drill the Scarlet Knob Tarn Lake. Yeah, preparations are on the way to drill the Tarn Lake during the 2022 season, but I don't know if they actually got around of doing that. I don't know. It's just knob. I can't find any. So that's I guess pending.
Sulfide intercepts we have at TV. So we're really excited to see what the results from these are. Myself, I'm very excited about what we found at TV, and it's certainly starting to look like this Scarlet Ridge, Tarn Lake, Scarlet Knob trend could actually be something significant, particularly because it's hosted by the Eskay Rhyolite, which is the same Upper Hazelton Group stratigraphy that hosts the Eskay Creek mine.
Wow.
Yeah, so like he says, basically this trend here has the same rocks, like I mentioned earlier, as they have at the Eskay Creek mine, and obviously you can see the scale bar here. This is 3 kilometers. So again, it's hard to find a bullseye immediately, but given the size of these, if you have a few, let's say, promising results, that means this whole trend is live. There's some historic drilling actually, and I think a few at least were pretty good holes. So I think this is live for sure. And if you listen to John de Decker, he sounds pretty excited about this being another massive trend to follow up on. And one thing I would point out is that this is Eskay Resources, December 6th, so just 10 days ago. They're hitting here, and if you look, I hope I can actually find the, I was just simply gonna, yeah, okay, you can pretty much see it. 1 second here. This is getting very close to Sib Lulu here, where they're hitting more stuff. And obviously we know there's stuff here because we have historic intercepts, and as we know, if you looked at the geological presentation by the Decker, this is basically, I think, where they started figuring out that previous explorers had gotten this wrong. What rock came over what rock, let's say, that there's a thrust fault and yada yada, that it basically, when Silver Standard was here and had an option with Eskay Mining, I think they actually drilled the wrong way, as it turns out to be with the new interpretation. And this is very much, this is a de-risk target. We already know Sib Lulu has produced some very good intercepts, and that would be, in that case, with a faulty geological model, pretty much. And this is also to be tested when, I think it was because it was so hard to get access in. Now, for example, they've actually, put helipads here, for example, which we can see in the, or is it in this actually? Yeah, it's in this, I think. Yeah, here they're built helipads so they can test areas that are harder to reach. So I think, if I understand correctly, that's one reason why. First of all, they got so good results from especially TV early on. That is like, yeah, pretty obvious that you're gonna drill test more of this strike. But this is, I guess, more remote, but it's obviously, and you can see the drill traces here. And I urge everyone to look at the presentation, and Quinten talked about that also, that a lot of stuff here with good hits is wide open. And as we've seen, it's pretty much directly on trend with where Skina is finding more stuff as well. So this is like, I wouldn't say an ace in the hole, but all of this is still, to be further explored as well with the new geological understanding that the Eskay Mining team is like probably the best team in the world when it comes to Eskay Mining VMS stuff with Thomas Monique, etc. So they might unlock this if their reinterpretation of how this actually looks underground, etc., turns out to be correct. And we haven't even gotten back to this here. So I wouldn't call this brownfield exploration, but it's like we already know that there's stuff here, and as Skina is working itself towards this trend, it becomes even more obvious. And then, of course, yeah, this might be if we get some good sniffs from these holes, like again, it's like if you look through the Kennerland study, if you have like a 140 gram meter hole within 10,000 meters of drilling, grassroots exploration, that is a significant result, or that that is a very good sign, let's say. Again, we're talking one hole in that case, because it's so. It just goes to show it's so hard to hit the juicy parts of any system really early on, because you have no idea where the best parts are. If you do infill drilling and stuff, you could produce some barn burners because you already know where the good stuff is. But in early exploration, you have to be very lucky, or the system has to be very robust, let's say, for you to actually have very good results early on, before you know how each system actually works. I think that's about it. It's like they say here in Skina, another news release just 17 days ago or something. Exploration and infill drilling by Skina continues to confirm and expand zones of mineralization in areas deemed non-prospective by previous operators. They're finding new stuff really close by to one of the most legendary mines in existence. So these, again, look at the distance here. That's not much. And here they have 90 gram meter hole over 100, 80, what's that, like 80, I can't read this. Oh, it's too, yeah, okay, over 100. These are significant intercepts, obviously. And this was unnoticed. I hope my point comes across, by judging when you, let's say, where is the new? When you judge this kind of wildcat drilling, or especially this kind of wildcat drilling, and what a terrible outcome, for example. I think one needs to keep in mind is like, it can be this close, and that was unrecognized. And you can see how this thing snakes. If you drill here, for example, you might have found nothing. Maybe you get a sniff here, and again, it took 109 holes to discover Eskay Creek. I think they made a Hail Mary, like drilling some geophysical anomaly. We have no shortage of geophysical anomalies. That's for sure. And again, it's like there's this hasn't been tested yet. This hasn't been tested. This hasn't been tested. This hasn't been tested since they basically revamped the geological understanding of what actually happens here, which rock goes under which rock, let's say. And again, I urge you to watch one of, I think it was, you can probably find it. Maybe it actually was, no, I don't think it was that. I think it was this one. Or maybe, anyway. point is, exploration takes time, and you cannot, again, if you can find stuff this close to one of the largest mines in the, not largest, one of the best mines in the world, and you have 100 gram meters intercepts with, let's say barren stuff in between, you have to give this time. I mean, to say that, wildcat drilling, I lost it again, Jesus. These kinds of wildcat step-out holes, that this would kill the Eskay Mining story, that's just absurd. That is simply absurd. And again, to just wrap up, okay, majority of massive sulfide hits from TV are left to be reported, all holes from this, and given that there are just a few holes, if they hit something here, that's friggin' significant. Because it's a huge trend, and again, the earlier it is, the more limited meters you actually drill. If you hit anything good with just a few holes, that could be very significant. And of course, it's morphing a bit and kicking up some zinc here, for example. Seems to be going along with some copper, and here's some copper as well. It's like, this is, again, super early stuff. Obviously, this is something they could probably build of. TV looks to be growing. And again, it appears that this actually might line up with this, and this whole trend is basically anomalous, if you can, pretty much believe Skina. So yeah, it's like I said in the last video, I think the whole point is, when you think about it, it's like volatility comes from the reaction of market participants. In this case, mostly I would say retail investors. And it's like, don't mean to be harsh, but almost nobody actually makes any money in this sector. So it's like the marginal decision or interpretation or whatever, it's like there's a 95% chance that what anybody does on any given day in this sector is the wrong decision. So we know what the marginal investor thought today. It's minus 32.4%. It's down to $130 million. That is what the marginal investor is saying. That's what they are voting with their feet. But what was the actual meaning of the news release? This is Mr. Market's reaction, but what is the actual, let's say, value of the news release? What does it say about the next 10, 20 news releases? If people are voting with their feet and saying that, hey, if you can't, if you don't hit a bunch of home runs when you do this kind of wildcat drilling, that means the story is over. Obviously, I don't think I don't think exploration really. They could just have kept on drilling all these holes. No, they were swinging for the fences, and now they tagged something that is at least 800 meters from where they've hit before. And again, this might be something, and this might be something. We have no idea if it gets worse or better in this way or that way or whatever. That's what they're gonna obviously figure out with geochemical analysis and all of that. But it is obviously interesting that it's like the Decker said, it appears that it's trending towards this, because who knows, maybe, this was all a seafloor way back when, and we know it's like riddled with stuff all the way here, and maybe it's snakes somewhere along this, and here I don't think we've actually even tested this either, and of course to the south we have Cumberland and C10 and Vermilion and Spearhead, and we haven't even gotten to them. We haven't even gotten to Excelsior. We haven't even flushed out TV. We have certainly not flushed out the Jeff trend. So if I had to guess, I think they're going to be drilling. They're going to be putting some holes around Well, first of all, they're gonna drill this geophysical anomaly, obviously, and it's like Eskay Creek. 109th hole, Hail Mary, drill some geophysical anomaly, and voila, 108 holes of failure, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have snagged a multi-billion dollar deposit. Is it a sure thing that we're gonna find something like that? Absolutely not. I just look again what is priced in, 130 million Canadian. That is not pricing in a big shot at finding an Eskay Creek, and let's say what is it, like, I don't know, 20% chance of finding something that Skeena has, let alone again an Eskay Creek type deposit. But that's our job. Okay, everybody can see what the Mr. Market, how that reacted today. How you make money is to figure out, is Mr. Market wrong? Because if Mr. Market is 100% rational and super efficient at pricing in this sector right now in tax loss selling season when the stock markets are crashing, I don't think so. But this is what it voted with today. And it's like, I actually bought some shares the day before the news release. I think that was the day before. It's like the worst possible ad in, well, I guess this was pretty bad as well. Almost the worst possible ad. But I added today more than I added before it crashed. So again, I'm just using volatility. I actually sold some Snowline today to buy some SK. Do I think Snowline is a bad story or a sell or whatever? No. I don't think so. But it's like, this is the volatility I use. This has gone up on no news. I think SK went down too much on not that bad news. But again, if you read the forums, you see exactly what everybody else is thinking. And again, 95% of people have no idea how to make any money in this sector. So it's like, I don't care at all what people in the forum say unless they have a very good point. I don't listen to anybody when it comes to, I make all my investment decisions alone. Because, again, I can see what everybody or most people think, especially the ones who don't even own the stock and don't even follow the story. They know, they quote, know this has gone to crap, that this story is over. It's like, yeah, okay, I don't care. I don't share your profits or your losses, thankfully. My bet is simply that I think the market way overreacted. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I know we're going to have more holes out of TV. I know we're going to have holes out of Scarlet Valley and Knob and Tarn Lake and whatever they're called. I know that the Decker is excited about TV. I know that the Decker is excited about what might be hidden here somewhere. We might get some sniffs of that in who knows, in a month, 2 months, somewhere along those lines. All of a sudden, I mean, if they find something here, all of a sudden, hey, I think it's like when it starts to sink in, it's like, hey, yeah, right. I mean, they have Siblulu, which they haven't even touched after they rethought the geological model. They have the Hexagon Mercury anomaly that is trending that way and trending from TV and Jeff, which obviously has mineralization. Oh, and right, we have Virginia Lakes as well. Might find something here. Yeah, again, that's just my opinion. It's like, I know a lot of people are hurting today, but this is it's volatility I use. That's all you can use, really. So, okay, it's like, for example, I sold some shares of Snowline, which had gone up on no news. So, I mean, by definition, the risk reward is getting worse because the only thing that went up was price. But from a long-term perspective, I think, Snowline has multi-bagger potential from here. So I really like the story. It's just that all of a sudden, I think an opportunity opened up. And then I can, as I call it, value shuffle. Okay, I'll buy some more Eskay Mining. I don't know if this is going to be turn out to a big success. I mean, if I had to bet, if they get, I don't know, 1, 2 more seasons, I'm pretty sure they've found something of significance. And okay, if I'm paying 130 now, maybe 150 million with dilution, what are the upside risks and what are the downside risks? Yeah, I simply think the risk reward is pretty good right now. Again, risk reward. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but obviously, okay, if they actually get quote lucky and find something of significance, it's going to be worth way more than 130 million at least. If not, I'll lose more money from these levels. It's as simple as that. I mean, if anyone is looking for 100% guaranteed, you shouldn't be in this sector. You shouldn't be investing at all. You should be buying only gold, pretty much. Only physical gold. Everything else is we take on risk. If it pays off, like for example Snowline, we get multiples on our money, which pays for a bunch of other stocks that didn't end up well. But every time it's like every time one of these high risk, high reward stories don't pan out or pan out immediately, God forbid they actually have. I mean, everybody was bitching in Snowline as soon as they had a 40% correction from the all-time highs. It's like nothing goes up in a straight line. If all of these stories actually became a success or never had a big correction or whatever, yeah, we'd be multi-billionaires in 5 years. That's not how it works. But again, just my 2 cents. I'm biased. I own shares of Eskay Mining. It is a sponsor. You take full responsibility for your action. If what I say makes no sense, again, I don't share your profits or your losses. So if I bought Eskay Mine, that's not a guarantee of anything. I just think the risk reward is looking quite attractive to me. That is all that means. And you certainly don't have to buy Eskay Mining. And it's like, yes, I've added, but it's not in the hodl portfolios, for example. It's not I've added in them as well a bit, but it's not a top 10 position right now. Because it's still high risk, high reward. I simply think that the risk reward has become much, much better over the last few months. And today I think it's probably the best in the last 1-2 years or whatever. So I mean, that's the funny part. It's like if you read the forum, I guess the majority of people say this stock, this store is the worst it's ever been. And I'm here like, no, I'm actually buying because I think at the current price, I think it's the best it's probably been in 1-2 years, actually. I mean, it's back to, I don't know actually what the share count was, but let's say it's back to this level here, valuation wise, and they sure as heck didn't have this much data back then. But I might end up looking wrong. I have no idea. Again, no guarantees in this business. Just remember, almost nobody makes money in this sector. So take every person's opinion with a big, grain of salt. Because dead people outperform the living. So if we're living and can actually make active decisions, odds are we'll make bad decisions. Let's just put it like that. And again, I can't guarantee that I'm right either. And I'm not looking for certainty or anything like that. I had no idea. Some multi-baggers I've had, I had no idea that they were gonna be multi-baggers. And some stores that I thought were really good, they turned out like, they've crashed like Novo now, for example. I didn't know that. But you can't take anything personally. We can just see what the market gives us. Today it's gave us Eskay at even sub 70 cents. If you think the market is 100% efficient, that means there is no alpha to be made. If you think it went down 32% and is still overvalued, that is an opportunity to sell. if you think it went down 32.4% and that is too much, and it has become too cheap based on the long-term potential, that would be an opportunity to buy. That's all there is to it. I try to use short-term volatility and just juxtapose it to the actual long-term case. And in this case, again, we saw what happened to price today, minus 32.4%. Question is, what actually happened to the story? And if they don't match, either you're overpaying for it or it's undervalued. Simple as that. Thanks for listening. This turned out to be quite a rant, but I hope you, got some pointers how at least I look at going about this sector. Not investing advice. Do your own due diligence. I'm biased. Bye bye.